All right. So now, Internet, it's time to talk about Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. Um, Honestly, it's good for what it is. If you enjoy space operas or wild science fantasy, science fiction, you'll probably enjoy it. It's got about everything that you might like in that type, if you like that type of movie. For those who are not aware, Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets, apparently based off of Valerian and the Empire of a Thousand Planets, about which I believe is the third book in the Valerian series of graphic novels from France, based on comics originally published in a periodically in a magazine that ran from I believe it's 1967 to 2010. Impressive, right? Uh, Tells the story of a couple of government space agents, basically space cops, who go on various missions for the Earth space government. And it's pretty much it's one hell of a visual ride. Is basically the best way I can put it. Its visuals honestly pretty consistently deliver throughout the film. Um, a lot of critics haven't really been on board with Valerian, and I think a big part of this has to do with whether or not you like Dane DeHaan. I personally enjoy Dane DeHaan. I actually think him and Della, I have trouble pronouncing her name, Delavengian, the Enchantress from Suicide Squad. I think they actually have a decently nice chemistry. I didn't have a problem with them. Many critics seem to, but I enjoyed them. I'm also a fan of Luc Besson, even when Luc Besson is ridiculous. And Luc Besson can frequently be ridiculous, but that's kind of one of the enjoyable things about Luc Besson. Uh, so it follows these space agents on their mission. I don't want to get too spoilery, but possibly one thing to prepare yourself is the movie's a little obvious. Like, there's not really there's not really many twists. Like, you pretty much get the idea of where it's going from the very first scene. Um, and it's not like the movie's hiding the twists or anything either. Like, it's also pretty obvious almost immediately who the bad guy is and what he's up to. And maybe I'll go into that a little bit in some spoilers here. But honestly, if you like science fiction, you should check out Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. If you don't really care for science fiction, I'll be real with you. Probably not going to win you over. It's action packed and it's funny, but if you generally don't, if science fiction space operas don't normally appeal to you, it's probably not going to do much for you because it is pretty much a quintessential space opera. In fact, it's based on the comic book series that inspired most of the 20th century's space operas like Star Wars and even The Fifth Element. If you like The Fifth Element, you will probably like Valerian because it's ridiculous like The Fifth Element, but also full of lots of unique, crazy stuff that Luc Besson likes to throw in there. So that's basically how I would put it. If you liked Fifth Element, you'll probably like Valerian, the City of a Thousand Planets. I enjoyed Dane DeHaan. I thought Clive Owen did a good job. Side note, it's just nice to see Clive Owen and shit. You know, at a certain point, I felt kind of like he fell off the face of the earth a little bit. But it's nice to see him and stuff. I'm pretty sure John Goodman plays the voice of an alien gangster, so that's fun. But the film is just full of lots of cool sci-fi visuals and ideas. Alpha One, the city that was previously basically a Lego, like the equivalent of like a Lego space station from Earth that was set adrift into space, is pretty cool. Especially the different alien cultures on it and different areas that they explore of it. The movie, one of the earliest action sequences involves a virtual market that takes place in an alternate dimension where people have to wear like these goggles to let them see the other dimension in order to purchase stuff from this alternate reality. It's pretty cool sci-fi heady stuff, and I definitely recommend checking that out if you like sci-fi stuff. And really that's kind of what this movie all comes down to. Do you like sci-fi stuff? Do you want to see a movie based on the books that inspired most of our sci-fi stuff? Then you should check out Valerian. It's really cool if you like that stuff. If you don't like that stuff, it probably won't do much for you. Let's be real. Overall, I'm struggling to decide. Okay, if you like sci-fi, it's like an. If you like sci-fi, I would give it a 7.5. I really enjoyed it. I thought it had a lot of good stuff to it, but it's a little predictable. Part of that is because this is based on the thing that inspired all the tropes we already have, which is why it's surprising it does have any ideas that haven't already been stolen by this point. So, if you haven't seen it yet, I actually do recommend it. Go check it out. It's not the most mind-blowing movie of the year, but it's definitely worth a spot, definitely worth a see for sci-fi fans. All right, and spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Spoilers. Okay. So what I was talking about earlier about it being really obvious, the movie opens with a vague, the movie opens with seeing a tribal culture that lives on a planet where they harvest radioactive pearls that power their entire planet. Is kind of really cool. It's a little bit Avatar on the beach, but it's kind of really nifty. And I sort of dig their androgynous alien species, even though they do look quite a bit like Avatar aliens in certain ways. Not as cat-like, but still definitely kind of like the gray-blue Aborigine type deal going on. But if you watch that moment, it like the moment I saw that scene, I kind of knew what the movie was going to be about. Obviously, imperialism wiped out these people via them being basically bystanders in a war. The last survivors are now trying to collect a replicator, this creature that can replicate any items in the galaxy, to rebuild their planet. Meanwhile, Clive Owen is the bad guy. And don't worry, that's not even though this is spoiler section, I will say that's not a huge spoiler. It's really clear that he's the bad guy. The interesting thing about it is that we, the audience, pretty much know what's going on the whole time. So the movie's really more about watching the characters figure out what's going on. This may or may not be appealing to some people. If you don't really like surprises, of course, it's going to be a fun ride for you. I don't know how I feel about how predictable it was, because honestly, I kind of saw a lot of it coming. Not like in a really bad way, but just kind of like, oh yeah, it makes sense that this is what is happening right now throughout the entire film. The things I didn't see coming were just some of the unique, really cool sci-fi stuff. The interdimensional marketplace, harvesting jellyfish from these weird whale things that actually live on the space station of all places. The space station itself is really cool. The opening sequence where we see the space station is really cool. It's just some really cool stuff goes on in this film. And honestly, I do recommend it. But like I said before, if you don't buy into crazy sci-fi stuff, I don't really see you super getting into it. My friend who I saw the movie was quick to point out to me that he felt like Valerian and his partner Laureline are Archer and Lana from Archer. To be fair, he kind of sees Archer and Lana in everything. But they do kind of have that playful back and forth. And I actually thought their relationship was pretty cool. The action scenes are really good. I'm trying to think if there's anything I really want to comment on about it. And the thing that's actually my one thing about the movie is that there's not a whole lot of it that I really have to say about it. It's got cool sci-fi ideas. It's got cool action. I liked the actors, and it looks pretty dope visually. There's not much more to it than that. And the general overall storyline itself is kind of like a cross between Star Wars and Avatar. In fairness, both those movies probably stole from this one when it was a book. So yeah, I definitely recommend it if you love sci-fi. Go check it out. I really got to work on this thing where I just keep repeating myself over and over and over again. It's even annoying for me. So I apologize for that. I should really do this before I cut to the spoilers so everyone sees it. But please like, subscribe, share even, or comment. Um, so yeah. Also check out my 8-ball sketches. They're pretty raunchy if you're so they're not suitable for children. But anyways, yeah, check it all out. Planning on going to see Dunkirk shortly after recording this. So hopefully I have a review up for that soon as well. All right, take it easy, internet.